Hey everyone, and welcome back to Explore Your Dark Side. My name is Stephanie Bosch, and I would like to talk with you in a new series about unconscious biases, or maybe they are sometimes already conscious, but it's all about how do we disrupt our own thinking pattern. And I would like to start with a definition of what biases are. And as this channel is mainly focusing on leadership development, but also obviously want to deliver value for my corporate clients, so I will also talk about the implications. So what does that mean? It is mainly in a bigger picture context, but obviously there are implications for you as an individual on how to use it. If you're particularly interested in unconscious biases and how they relate to recruitment and why we definitely want to become aware of them and making the unconscious conscious, then please do get in touch. I'm currently creating an online course around this, especially for recruitment, so for recruitment purposes, etc. There will potentially be another one following for leadership, but yeah, again, this is all just in the making, so I thought it's too important though to not share it on YouTube too, because I really do think we all should work on it. We should all become aware of it because we all have biases, and that's okay, but we need to become aware of them so we can proactively do something against stereotyping, discrimination, etc. Because I think we can only win in the long run if we really do have diverse and inclusive environments that are bigger than prejudice, stereotype, and discrimination. So we're going to start with a definition of what bias is. And a bias, and this is from the Cambridge Dictionary, a bias is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way because of allowing personal opinions to influence your judgment. And this is the dangerous bit about biases. They are often unconscious because we obviously grow up, we getting more mature in our own reality, right? So everyone is kind of like creating their own world they're living in the whole world we live in, if that makes any sense. So the way we grow up is you have been put into the world in a certain place. So this might be the UK, that might be somewhere in the States, this might be somewhere in Germany, wherever, right? So anywhere. And then you have like cultural norms, etc. So you have society around you and their rules, their regulations, their norms, their expectations, your parents, the style how your parents are raising you, their values, their motives, their preferences, their personalities, etc. So all of this kind of like forms you, like in the early stages, and then over time to whatever you're being exposed, like experiences, people, situations, norms, etc. This kind of like creates your own world, and we start to develop thinking patterns, we start to develop opinions, we start to develop our own values, we value things, we think this is right, this is wrong, etc. And this is also where we get it to the point where we're like, this is normal and this is not normal. This is how it should be and this is how it not should be. This is how it's supposed to be and this is how it's not supposed to be. And the problem with that is though that we think, only because we think like this, that everyone is thinking like this. And then maybe we realize there are people who don't think like this. Maybe people have a different opinion, etc. And we kind of like prefer the people who have similar patterns, etc. So we will go obviously into more detail with like different types of biases where it becomes more clear what kind of biases have what kind of consequences and how do they play out, how do they play along. But biases will lead you to making certain choices or making certain preferred choices. And as I said, we all have this. It's it's the same with like food. The food you've been growing up with, you potentially prefer over food you have never ever tried. You don't even know what it is, and you might be a bit skeptical about it. And as long as it's food, this might be not a problem. But if it comes to people, and if you have a role or a position in with loads of responsibility, and you are being biased and not even aware of it, that's dangerous. So it's all about, making the unconscious conscious, becoming aware of potential own biases. So because only when we have the knowledge about what biases are out there, what biases could potentially derail our thinking, our behavior, our patterns, etc., only then are we able to detect them in our own lives. So that's it for today. I will film a new video. Obviously, we go into specific biases in more detail. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care.